Hey, this is Prak with iRepairMD, and today we have a Mavic 3 Cine belonging to iFly Drone, a buddy of mine named Gary, and he has crashed this drone. As you can see right here, the lens has been scratched, and this particular drone, you just can't replace the obstacle avoidance one sensor or one camera. You have to replace the whole bracket. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front obstacle sensor on a Mavic 3 Cine. Other repair, make sure you disengage, take the battery out. Okay, in this one, we will need access to a new part. Okay, so for this repair, which is the front obstacle sensor, right here, you would need a tool set. This one here will have everything you need, including tweezer and pry tool should you need it. And this is the optical sensor assembly for the Mavic 3 series. As you can see, it's the whole bracket. You just can't take away one camera and have that repair, okay? So let's go ahead and do the repair. First thing we do, let's go ahead and open up the drone. And we'll need access just to the top, okay? So here, we'll go ahead and flip the drone over. And we're gonna use the tool, pry tool. This one uses the star tool. So let's go ahead and a smaller one, T5. This is the T5. Let's go ahead and pull off the shell. Okay, there should be about, use this to put the screw in. We'll have to remove the top cover here, down this cover here. First thing we do is move these two from here. So let's go ahead and remove that. Top shell off. Right here. Okay, this one has a tamper resistant adhesive. Let's go ahead and remove that seal. Now let's go ahead and unpry. Okay, put this here. All right, now what we need to do is under this armpit right here, it's also a T6 shell. Open up the shell, T5. Let's go ahead and take that out. Okay, now this is where I use the tweezer. It comes with this tool set. You want to go ahead, okay, and take that. Now turn to the other side. Do the same. Take shell off. Okay. Out of here. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to close this up. Now we need to access the back obstacle sensor. So let's go ahead, turn to the side here. Okay. Put that in, other side. Okay. Once that's removed, let's go ahead. We're going to pry the back off later. We'll take this off later. Let's go ahead and take all these, the top off right here. So underneath the gimbal, there's also another screw right here. Okay. That's also the T5. Okay. We're going to turn this over. There you go. Now the other side. T5 also. So we're taking about probably 8 screws in order to get to the top shell. Okay. All right. And again, there is another clip holding this, another T5 right underneath this. Let's go ahead and remove that. That's the only way we can get the nose off. Okay. So underneath is 2 T5. Okay. So I can lift it up with a tweezer. Okay. There you go. Tweezer, put this in. Now the other side. That is the front nose. That will also have another T5 screw. Okay. To get this tool set, you can order from my website. If you don't see it, just send me a chat through contact. All right, so now that we can go ahead and safely remove this front nose. Let's put this out of play. Now we should be able to skid front nose out of the way. Okay. All right. That come off. You can see where the screw came in. Okay, so turn this over and you will see there's another T5 right here. That is another piece that you need to also take care of in order to lift the plate, the front plate. There's a whole lot of screws that hold this thing together. This is a well-built drone. Lots of hidden screws that will give you a headache if you forget to take them off. Okay. Again, as always, I'm always very cautious when I'm opening a drone for the first time that I haven't opened before, to make sure there's no resistance. So you don't want to use too much force, just enough force. You can lift the drone, but you don't want too much force. You can see right here, you can see how this resistance here. So I know that underneath here should be another pry. So I'm gonna go ahead and slowly lift this up. Okay. Took all this off. Should come off fairly easy. There you go. Should snap. But again, you don't want to force it. This clamshell is all snaps that need to re-engage in order for you to close it properly. So when you open it, you definitely do not want to take the snap. Now you have most of the shell off, just carefully work this out. Okay, you can see this is probably another screw holding this down. So we need to lift this up now, the back half. So here, there is 2 screws right here, underneath here, I need to take out. This is more reason to be very careful when opening. Don't use too much force. So you can see in here, there's 2 more screws. Well, the good thing they're all T5s. Okay, that. Okay. Now, go ahead. 1 more left right here. Okay. Using a tweezer. All right, put this out. Now, turn this over. should come off fairly easy now. Again, pulling very carefully, making sure I am not damaging anything. There we go. Take out a play, and now you have another T5 here holding this on. This is the final 2 screws to hold this. So open up the drone, see what's inside. Using a tweezer. There we go. Put that. Lift this. There could be wires underneath here, so again, be very careful when lifting this. You can see there's another T5 screws here. Actually, this is a Phillip. So now we'll switch over to Phillip. Here you go, red. It's Phillip. Okay. Take the 2 Phillip off. Okay. Have to remember that the 2 Phillips go to this 2-piece back here. Now we lift it up. Now we have this. The unit is open. Okay, let's take a look at it. Let's use common sense now to do this repair. We're looking at here. We notice that this is what we need to drop in. Okay. And I'm looking carefully here. I do notice that there are 4 screws holding this down. Okay. These are dampener screws. These are the 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are Phillips. Let's go ahead and use the Phillips. All right, so the bigger Phillip one is this one here. Okay, let's go ahead, lift that up. These are all dampeners on it, so we've got to make sure that the dampener is rested back in when we put. Dampener have a tendency to pop off when you're pulling off a bracket, so make sure when you do pull it off, you seat the dampener back in properly. The vibration dampener is usually there to mitigate some vibration so the obstacle avoidance sensor don't blur. Okay, so now we have these pieces right here. All right, now that I'm looking, see what we have to lift up. Okay, so we definitely do, looking at here, the connections right here onto this plate. Okay, so what we need to do is go ahead and you see the GPS right here, the GPS unit plate rests on here. So let's go ahead and pull this GPS unit. There's a connection bracket, a conducting bracket right here. Let's lift it off, put it away. Okay, now that's out of the way. Now we do have another conducting bracket right here that rests this down. All right, these are all Phillips. Let's put that aside. Lift that up. Okay, this is where the front engagement is. Okay, so we can see here that this is going to be the one that we need to lift to remove this bracket right here. All right, now we're looking even more further down. We have quite a few different connections that we need to remove too. Okay, so this plate right here will rest on here. So let's go ahead and take these bracket off. This is also another connection bracket to the back. All right, each one of these will conclude a circuit, will close a circuit. If you don't put it back properly, you're not going to have a complete circuit and you might be missing some functionality in this drone. Okay, so be very careful. You lift all this up. Make sure you put the screws into place. That's where it rests. Okay, so let's go ahead and lift this up. Okay, with electronics, I'd rather not use anything metal. I'd rather use my finger or a plastic pry tool just to be safe. Okay, so now this is the bracket that we need to remove. However, we do have all these stuff on top of it. The cooler and the flight system. So let's go ahead and remove all that. There are lots of screws here holding this down. So let's take out some Phillips here. Okay, there's definitely some Phillips here. And again, you don't want to lose any of these screws. So be very careful in this process. Okay, put that aside in its own place. And usually these things are symmetrical, but in this case they're not. This is actually located, there's one located right here that we need to take out. Okay, if you can't take it off, just turn it over. So now let's take a look at what we got here. Still have a screw right here. Okay, so we need to lift the fan up because it's definitely tape holding this down. I'm looking at the fan here. There are, see here, zoom in a little bit. There are screws, 4 screws holding this fan down. The cooling fan, the system, the main logic board. Okay. And we need to address all that. Okay. Lift it carefully. Again. All right, so the fan will have some more components holding it, keeping it. Okay. Turn this over, see if there's any loose screws. The screws that was loose earlier. All right, so should you have the same problem, especially when you need access to the top of this. Okay, this is the cooling fan right here, and this is the connector to the cooling fan, which rests right over here. So the connector runs into the slot right here. Okay, it pop out. Once we put it back in, make sure you rest it in here. Let's go ahead and lift all this up. Okay, we need access to this, screws, take out. All right, just one screw will ruin your day if you forget it. All right. This should be the last screw that holds up the logic board that will allow us. Okay, this is the plate right here. Yep. Now let's go ahead and move this around for now. Take the logic board out. Okay, take the logic board out of play for now. Now you can see this obstacle avoidance has these heat transfer tape, which we need to also remove to transfer onto our new one. So with this heat transfer tape, there's also a connector underneath. So lift it up slowly and make sure you see the tape back in. All right, so here you go, carefully. Resting the connector back in. Make sure all the connector are resting properly. Okay. I'll do the heat transfer tape. Let's pull the heat transfer tape out. Okay. we'll put it back in. Again, if you have to play back this video a few times, do so. It is key that we have this done correct, okay? So here is some more heat transfer tape on the bracket. So we'll also remove two. Here's the other heat transfer tape. Okay. This is what's holding obstacle avoidance bracket to the logic board. Let me go ahead and keep everything in one piece. Carefully lift. Don't want to break it. It's just tape, but it could also be a conducting tape. Okay? So now you look here. Let's go ahead and remove the antenna. All right, so there are antenna tapes here. It's a white antenna here. Okay, white, black. Let's remove this conducting. So you look at the sequence here. You have white, black, and blue runs over there. Okay, so let's go ahead and lift the white, black, and blue. We'll need to put it all back in. White, black, gray. White, black, gray. And then blue right here. Okay. White, black, gray, and blue. All right. So now, after all that, it is almost safe to remove the transfer tape. So let's go ahead and unravel this. This is the piece that holds the transfer tape on together. All right. Let's lift up the bracket. Obstacle avoidance bracket. Okay. Now let's take a look at the new bracket. So this is the new bracket right here. And so what we're going to do, let's put this out of play right now. Let's transfer what we need to do to the new bracket, okay? So now we have the new bracket. I'm going to make it identical. So I'm going to transfer this tape over to the new bracket, okay? So this is metallic sensor tape right here. Let's go ahead and transfer it over. Okay. Everything has a feature. Definitely do not want to miss anything. Okay. Now this piece here covers that to go here. Okay. Other than that, I think we're good to go. Maybe one more piece here. That holds this piece here. It's also a heat transfer. Lots of heat transfer here. All right, let's take the old one that is scratched out of play, put in the new one. Okay, now let's go ahead and rest the new one in. Okay, I'll be very careful. Let's go ahead and transfer, put all the connection we need in place that we need. All right, and now let's drop this obstacle avoidance here into place like we did earlier. All right, use a pry tool to move this. Got to shimmy this through a little bit. All right, I think here is good. All right, everything's locked. Let's go ahead and put all the connectors back into place. All right, so this one here is the top connector. using 2 Phillips. So I'm gonna go ahead, use 2 Phillips to secure this. All right. Okay, this is the other Phillip to the GPS. All right, now let's go ahead and secure the 2 down, making sure the dampeners are in here. Yes, these have dampeners already inside. So let's go ahead and secure these right here. All right, these are the Phillip with the big dampeners. That is secure. All right. We'll do diagonal, one this side and back jumping to this side right here. Okay. Now crossing over to this side here. All right. Jumping over here. All right. Let's go ahead. Put all tape, rest the connector, verifying all the connector is seated. And this is the rear obstacle avoidance connector. Make sure when you press it in, you can hear a click. If it doesn't click, it's not in yet. Extend it out. Okay. And don't force it. You just are looking for that little click sound or the feel. You'll feel it when it's properly seated into the connector. Okay. Let me go ahead. Just be to rest inward. Okay. All right, so you can feel it. I feel it seated properly. Okay. Carefully just making sure it's seated. Now you can see all this other connection we have to do. Okay, this wraps around here. This piece here wraps here. All right, and this rests down. So this piece right here, it rests over here. Okay. So this actually presses down. So let's go ahead and seat that. First thing we do is we'll lift this up first. We'll do this part later. Okay, we need to seal this off. Okay, so now let's go ahead and we're going to transfer the connector. Okay. So now this connector right here, what you see here, is to sit into here, okay? So now, what I need to do is properly seat it into place. In order to do that, we will need to remove this piece right here, okay? So now let me go ahead and remove this piece. This bracket right here. Okay, so to get to this piece right here, to lift this up, what we need to do is go ahead and this plastic right here, just slowly lift up this fan. This is the cooling shroud, cooling the duct tape. Okay, so there, I'll need to go ahead, lift the tape up. Okay, remove the chip. Okay, and this is the chip right here that's resting on there. Okay, so from here we should be able to just pick this up. This cooling shroud here. There's 2 screws right here holding it in. 2 Phillips still underneath. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the 2 Phillips. We're gonna leave it in the well. Okay, I'll take it out, we need to. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out for now. Now let's go ahead and lift the shroud off. Okay, and this is the this is also a radio component right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put it in carefully, back in. All right, so look at this. We're gonna go ahead and put all the screws into place. Okay, so here what we got is, go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and actually do this right now. I'm gonna lift this up first. Now I'm gonna run this through. Okay, to block this. Now we'll go ahead, close in on this like that. Okay, so now go ahead, seat the connector into place. There we go. This is covered. Now we'll go ahead and seat this connector right here down. We'll do that later. Okay, so what we need now is go ahead and put this into place, the cooling unit, and put all the screws in place, all the Phillips. Let's go ahead and secure the Phillips in. One right here. Right, we got a Phillips secure. Again, we want to use the right screw here. These are the tiny screws. The tiny Phillips is secured, not the big one. Okay. These are the smaller Phillips to lock it into place. Here we go. All right. Now, see back here, we want to secure that. Okay, everything has to be methodical here. Okay, secure this. All right. Sure everything's resting properly. Now you see this fan rests. Let's go ahead and put the fan in, and we'll put more screws in. All right, let's go ahead and connect the fan, the cooling fan, back into here. All right, cooling fan's in place. Now let's go ahead and secure it. Secure the cooling fan in. Okay, now let's go ahead and put the longer Phillips into here. This is the tapping down Phillips screw. Okay. Up here. Okay, everything's locked into place. All right, what we need now is to go ahead and actually secure this radio unit right here underneath here. So let's go ahead and lift this up carefully, secure the radio unit in to place, make sure it's rested, seated properly. All right, everything needs to be seated. Okay. So now, once that radio unit is seated, let's go ahead and put the cooling duct back in. This is faced this way. All right. But before we do all that, we need to go ahead and seat the cable. All right, now let's put the antenna cable back in, and the order is white, black, gray, blue. So we have white right here. I want to sit it just, make sure it's properly seated. Okay, it is. White, now black, okay, so it's tapped in properly, black, gray, all right. These are the OcuSync antenna. All right, white, black, gray, and blue. Be very careful when you sit this. You do not want to force it. There you go. White, black, gray, blue. All antennas seated properly. Let's go ahead and secure the cable. This is where all this was resting. The antenna rests right here. Okay. Now we have this in here. All we need to do is go ahead and put, this is resting down properly. All right, now secure this with a Phillip. Okay, using a small Phillip to secure this into place. Okay, this is all secure. Now let's go ahead and put the heating duct in. Okay, want to carefully do that. Here you go, this rests underneath this way. Okay, actually I'm also going to lift this off for now. Let's go ahead and secure it this way. Now put the screws into place. Okay, I see that screw right there. This is where, yeah, this is where I have to go in, take the first screws out, because it rests on top of this piece. Wow, DJI really did a number on this one. All right, locking in, putting all the Phillip into place. Whew. I tell you what, DJI, you definitely didn't make it any easier. This is definitely a pro level repair or a person with extreme patience. All right, so let's go ahead and put the heating shroud back in. Okay, secure the tape. Place right here. This is the heating shroud tape. Okay, although fan diversion tape. Let's go ahead and secure this tape into place. Okay. There we go. All right, put this on. Let's make it connect. Okay. Actually, what I should do, yeah, let's go ahead and redo this again. Make sure the bracket, the secure bracket is in this time. Sometimes you will make mistakes. Again, this is something that I make many times, but as long as you don't get to the step too far that it's hard to go back, I think you're okay. Mistakes is part of learning. Okay. Sometimes I call fatal mistakes tuition, because you have to buy a new drone. And like attending college, you have to pay. Hope for the time. I am always cognizant of everything I do. I'm very careful when taking these things apart. I learned from my previous mistakes. I seem to get better with every other repair. Knock on wood. Okay. Let's go and secure this one. And actually, here you go. The smaller one will secure this. There you go. Okay. So now let's go ahead and put this into place. I believe I dropped something back here. Let me turn it over. There we go. Okay, so now I need to go ahead and take care of the front piece right here. All right, so this is the front connection. And secure right now to this piece. All right, so now then back here, you can see we have this piece that we secure down. Okay, so I need to open this up again. Okay, again, this is putting the screw in before the bracket. Story of my life. There you go. Everything has a connection bracket. There's another bracket right here. Put a screw in. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and channel this wire safely around underneath here. Secure it to a point it doesn't get in the way. Okay, now guess what? We get to put this back on. Let's go ahead and put the front clamp back on. Okay, again, when you put it on, you zoom out a little bit. Okay. Squeeze. Make sure everything is snapped into place. And see this blue cable, make sure it's not pinched. It's on the inside of the jaw, not between the two shell. All right, so now we go ahead and secure the top lid. Okay, you can see right here. Let's go ahead and secure that. You can see another issue I have. I would need to take the top screws here off. Carefully. Put this off again. All right, so to see this screwdriver right here, the screw, I will put it in after I put the shell. Okay, and now the other side, same problem. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me put this back into here. Okay, now same problem the other side. So go ahead and again is putting in the screw in before I have a chance to put the shell on. Okay, so you can see right here, I'm gonna go ahead okay, now we got both of these. Let's go ahead and put it back in again. All right, put clamshell back on. Again, be very careful. Then seating it back in, making sure everything is properly seated. Snaps are in place and no wires are pinched in the process. All right. If we do it right, we don't have to do it again. Okay. Phillips. Secure the back shell here using Phillip. There we go. And now this one, also using Phillips. Secure this side in place. Okay, let me secure this. Make sure everything's aligned and ready to secure. There we go. Same on this side, making sure. All right. Let's pull this off. Let's take a look what's going on here. All right. Make sure it's aligned. Drop the screw in. Here we go. On this side the same. All right. Now, after all that, let's go ahead, snap the shell back on, the back shell. First we have to secure these two. Let's go ahead and use the T5s now. Switching over to the T5s. Secure the shell on. Out a piece. Okay. Again with this, you want to make sure the shells are aligned. Okay, so I'm looking back here, folding. You want to make sure the shells are aligned so they snap in correctly. Sometimes when you pull a shell out, won't correctly align until you force it to align. Okay. Now you can see all the shells snap into place perfectly. And on the other side right here, you also will need to snap it in. And now align the shell, top shell to the bottom. Because I'm aligning the top to the bottom now. Okay, doing so will secure this piece. All right. Reviewing everything. Now let's go ahead, put the back obstacle avoidance back on to here. Make sure it snaps into place. Turn it over. And again, we're gonna screw in the bottom piece. Okay. And this is it right here. It's the torque, tiny one. Tiny torque screw. There we go. Dropping it in and tightening it. Make sure that it is in place. All right. Now for the other tiny torque. Okay. Okay. There we go. Put the tiny torque right here. Make sure it's aligned. Okay, again. Okay. Okay, we have that secure. All right, let's go ahead and put all this back into place. Let's go put the front in. Okay. Quite a few screws in this particular drone. Insane amount. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and put the nose back in. Nose guard. More like goggles. Eye guard. Right now, secure it inside. Bracket. Then tilt it carefully. Drop it in. Secure it. Place. Other side. Same thing. Turn it over. I tell you what, this is a long and tedious repair just to replace one camera. It's interesting. I do believe that this is a very precise obstacle avoidance, and so it's not possible to replace one camera because it needs to be locked in, stamped into the bracket in order to maintain the tolerance needed for the precision of obstacle avoidance that this particular drone has. If not, you're going to find yourself calibrating it non-stop. So I understand the level of difficulty to replace it. This is by far one of the more difficult repair I've done. Gary, I hope you appreciate this. This is insanely tedious, but I'm always up for new challenges. And if you have something insanely tedious, whether it's a drone or laptop or any electronic device that you need help in, just click on the link below and send me a SOS. I should be able to help you out. The only time that prevents me, most of the time, the only time I can't fix a device is because it's no longer, the part needed is no longer available. It's water damage. Those are only two, but other than that, I should be able to repair pretty much almost every different device if the parts is available. I'm up for the challenge. Bring it on. All right, this is the last two for this bracket here. Okay. There we go. And then this drone is good to go. Okay. Now let's power up the drone. Making sure everything is in place. Tap, tap. Okay. Make sure the gimbal stabilizes. All right. And gimbal stabilizes. And let's go ahead and check obstacle avoidance on the controller. Okay. Turn on the controller here. I want to make sure everything's checked. All right. Okay, so now we're going to test fly it in a really wood-dense neighborhood in the east side of Virginia over this Model X. It's a wooden driveway and everything is great. There's no issue. It has no obstruction. Anyways, this is Prak with iRepairMD, and what you saw was a repair of an obstacle avoidance system on a Mavic 3 Cine. Safe flying.